Welcome to CBTV.
Chapter 5 Non-Craving. You have enough. As soon as we realize that in this very moment we already have enough and we already are enough, true happiness becomes possible. The art of happiness is the art of living deeply in the present moment. The here and now is the only time and place where life is available and where you can find everything you are looking for, including love, freedom, peace, and well-being. Happiness is a habit. It's training. With mindfulness, concentration, and insight, we can free ourselves from feeling of restlessness and craving and realize that right now we already have more than enough conditions to be happy. This is the contemplation on non-craving. Practicing mindful breathing and coming back to ourselves to take care of our body throughout the day. We can free ourselves from our regrets about the past and worries about the future, and live deeply every moment, get in touch with the wondrous, refreshing, and healing elements that are available inside and around us. Hooked. Contemplating non-craving is another way to practice the concentration on endlessness. Each one of us has a big block of craving inside. We're already looking outside ourselves for something to make us feel satisfied and complete, whether it is food, sensual pleasures, money, a relationship, social status, or success. But so long as we have the energy of craving in us, we're never satisfied with what we have and with who we are right now, and true happiness is not possible. The energy of craving sucks us into the future. We lose all our peace and freedom in the present moment and feel we can't be happy until we've got what we've craving. But even if you do get the object of your craving, you never feel truly fulfilled, like a dog chewing a bare bone. No matter how many hours you gnaw at your craving, you never feel satisfied. You never feel that you have enough. Infatuation can become a kind of prison, preventing us from touching true happiness and freedom. We may spend our life chasing after wealth, status, influence, and sensual pleasures, thinking that we will improve the quality of our life, and yet we end up not having any time left to live. Our life becomes just a means to make money and become someone. The Buddha used the image of a fish biting on an attractive bait. The fish doesn't know that there's a hook hidden in the bait. It looks so delicious, but as soon as the fish bites, it gets hooked, it gets hooked and caught. The same is true with us. We run after things that seem very desirable like money, power, and sex without realizing the danger in them. We destroy our body and mind chasing after these things, and yet still we continue chasing them. Just as there's a hook inside in the bait, there's danger hidden in the object of our craving. Once we can see the hook, whatever it is we're craving simply won't be appealing anymore and we'll be free. At first, we think that if we let go of what we're craving, we'll lose a lot. But when we finally releasing it, we see that we have not lost anything after all. We are even richer than before because we have our freedom and we have the present moment, just like the farmer who sold everything in order to buy the treasure in the field. Inside sets you free. Every one of us has inside. We know that the object of our craving isn't worth it. We know we don't want to get hooked. We know we don't want to spend all our time and energy on it. And yet we can't let go. This is because we don't know how to apply our insight. We need to take time to stop and reflect deeply on our situation to identify what it is we are craving. And then we have to identify the hook. What is the danger? What is the suffering hidden in it? We've got to see all the ways in which run after and craving this thing has made us suffer. Every desire has its roots in our original fundamental desire to survive. In Buddhism, we don't speak of original sin. We speak of the original fear and desires that manifested in us during our birth and the precarious moments we took our first painful breath. Our mother could no longer breathe for us. It was difficult to inhale. We first had to expel water from our lungs. But if we couldn't breathe on our own, we could die. We would die. We made it. We were born. And with that birth, our fears of dying was born along with the desire to survive. And as infants, they fear stay with us. We know that in order to survive, we had to get someone to take care of us. We may have felt powerless, and we found all sorts of ways to figure out how to get someone else to protect us, take care of us, and ensure our survival. Even though we have grown into adults, our original fear and desires are still alive. We fear being alone or abandoned. We fear getting old. We crave connection and someone to take care for us. If we work non-stop, it's maybe because of our original fear that otherwise we cannot survive. And our own fears and desires may come from our ancestors' original fears and desires. They suffered from hunger, wars, exile, and so on, and over thousands of years have endured countless difficulties where survival was touch and go. When fears, craving, or desire comes up, we need to be able to recognize it with mindfulness and smile to it with compassion. Hello, fears. Hello, craving. Hello, little child. Hello, ancestor. Following our breathing, and in this safe island of the present moment, we transmit the energy of stability, compassion, and non-fear to our inner child and our ancestors. Mindfulness can only help reduce our stress and tension if it provides us with insight. Meditation isn't just a temporary place of refuge to help you stop suffering for a while. It's much more than that. Your spiritual practice has the power to transform the root of your suffering and transform the way you live your daily life. It is insight that helps us calm our breathlessness, stress, and craving. Perhaps we can start to speak of insight-based stress reduction. You are free to be yourself. There's a funny story about something that happened many years ago in a psychiatric hospital in Vietnam. A patient there was very afraid of the chicken that roamed freely in the hospital yard. Every time he saw a chicken, he ran away. One day, the nurse asked him, "Why do you keep doing that?" The young man explained that he thought he was a seed of corn and he was afraid the chicken would eat him. So the doctor summoned him to his office and said, "Young man, you are a human being. You are not a grain of corn. Look, you have eyes, a nose, a tongue, a body just like me. You are not a grain of corn. You are a human being." And the young man agreed. So the doctor asked him to write down repeatedly on a sheet of paper, "I'm a human being. I'm not a grain of corn." The young man filled up many sheets of paper with these lines. It seems he was making a lot of progress. Every time the nurse came to ask him, "Who are you? What are you?" he would always say, "I'm a human being. I'm not a grain of corn." The doctor and nurses were very happy. They gave him a final appointment with a doctor before he was to be discharged. As he was walking to the doctor's office for that appointment, he saw a sick chicken and he ran away very fast. The nurse had a hard time catching up with him. Finally, she reached him and said, exasperated, "What are you doing? What did you run away? You have been doing so well. You know that you are a human being. You know that you're not a grain of corn." The young man answered, "Yes, I know very well I'm a human being. I'm not a grain of corn." But the chicken doesn't know that. Many of us do things only for the sake of form. We do things not because we believe it's important, but because we think other thing is important. We may even chant or pray or invoke the Buddha names because we think it's matter to the Buddha, but not because it's meaningful for us. The same is true for chasing after signs of success, wealth, and status. We may do not because we think it's important, but because we think others expect it of us. But when we truly see the cost of these pursuits and hooked in them, we don't want to keep running after them up anymore. We make sure of the inside that we are already enough. We don't have anything to prove. True happiness. Our quality of life and true happiness does not depend on the external conditions or external proof. It doesn't depend on how much money we have or what kind of job or car or house. In Plum Village, none of the monks or nuns has a personal bank account or credit card or salary, and yet we live very happily. By North American standards, we are not normal at all, but we are very happy to live simply and have a chance to help others and serve the world. True happiness depends on our capacity to cultivate compassion and understanding and bring nourishment and healing to ourselves and our loved ones. All of us need to love and to be loved. In our relationship, we may look for someone who symbolizes what is good, true, and beautiful to fill up our own feeling of lack. The person you fall in love with soon become the object of your craving. But sexual desire is not the same as love, and sexual relation motivated by craving never dissipate the feeling of loneliness, but only create more suffering and isolation. If you want to heal your own loneliness, you first have to learn how to heal yourself. Be there for yourself, and cultivate your own inner garden of love, acceptance, and understandings. Once you have cultivated love and understanding yourself, you have something to offer the other person. But so long as we don't yet love or understand ourselves, so how can we blame others for not loving us or not understanding us? Freedom, peace, love, and understanding are not things we can obtain from the outside. And not things we can obtain from the outside. They are something already available within us. Our practice is to do everything we can in order to bring love, understanding, freedom, and fearlessness to life by looking deeply into ourselves and by listening to ourselves. Instead of running after the objects of our craving or making our loved ones an object of our craving, we should spend the time we have cultivating true love and understanding in our hearts. A true friend is someone who's offered peace and happiness. If you are a true friend to yourself, you are able to offer yourself the true peace and happiness you seek. I once was asked to write a letter of encouragement to a prisoner named Daniel, who was on death row in Jason, Georgia, in the United States. He was 19 when he committed his crime and had spent 13 years his entirely adulthood behind bars. I was asked if I could offer him some words of comfort since the time of his execution were drawing near. So I sent him a little note. I wrote, Many people around you have a lot of anger, hate, and despair, which prevent them from getting in touch with the fresh air, the blue sky, and the fragrance of the rose. They are in a kind of prison. But if you practice compassion, if you can see the suffering in the people around you, and if you try to do something to help them suffer less every day, then you will be free. One day with compassion is worth more than 100 days without it. The number of days we have to live is not so important. What matters is how we live them. Restlessness. We all know the feeling of being restless. It is the opposite of feeling at ease and comfortable in ourselves. It's a kind of mental excitement. We cannot be still. We do everything in a hurry, rushing from one thing to the next. Wherever we are, we always think we should be someone somewhere else. We're even restless in our sleep. No position of the body feels comfortable. We're longing for something and craving something, but we don't know what it is. We open the refrigerator, we check our phone, we pick up a newspaper, we listen to the news, we do everything we can to forget the feeling of loneliness and suffering inside. We may take refuge in our work, not because we need the money or because we really want to do it, but because our work distracts us from the painful feelings deep inside. We rewarded by a sense of achievement in our work, and before we know it, we get addicted to our work. Maybe we turn to film, TV series, the internet, or computer games, or we listen to music for hours on end. We think these things make us feel better, but as soon as we turn them off, we just feel as bad, if not worse, than we did before. It has become a habit to reach for the phone or computer and immerse ourselves in another world. We do it to survive, but we want to do more than to survive, we want to live. It is helpful to look honestly at your habit's energy. When you turn on the TV, are you sure the program is worth watching? When you reach for some food, is it because you are hungry? What are you running away from? What is it you are really hungry for? The energy of mindfulness, our spiritual practice body, help us identify what kind of feeling is coming up and pushing us to run away. Solidly rooted in our mindful breathing, we realize we don't need to run away. We don't need to suppress our painful feeling. We see clearly what is going on inside and take a chance to stop, embrace our feeling, and start to truly take care of ourselves. Each one of us needs to reconnect with ourselves, with our beloved ones, and the earth. We reconnect with the earth and our cosmic body, which is presented in us, supporting us in every moment. We all need deep healing at the root. Every time we come back to our body with mindful breathing, we put an end to our feeling of isolation and alienation, and we have a chance to heal ourselves completely. It is possible to learn to sit in peace, breathe in peace, and walk in peace. To be at peace is an art we cultivate with our daily mindfulness practice.